Welcome to Be Ablaze. We're lighting a fire in you to move you from ordinary to extraordinary, living out your blaze for life. I am your host, Polly Hamp. Let's be ablaze. Hello and welcome to Be Ablaze. I am Polly Hamp, your host, and today we are going to be talking about back to school. I know several of you guys have already started back to school, probably this week, maybe even a couple of weeks ago. And it is just full swing school. You are carpooling, you are packing the lunches, you're waking up early, and you had your beautiful summer vacation, your summer time off where it's just leisurely and the kids can sleep in and you don't have a whole lot to do. Maybe just, are we going to go to the pool today? Or what are we going to do today? And all those different questions. And even as a working parent, if you're doing childcare, things like that, it still has a different summertime effect on life. And then school season hits. Bum bum. I remember my girls are now 29 years old. I have twin daughters. And I remember school being pretty exciting. It's, oh, we've got our new backpacks and we've got our new stuff and we've got our new things and we've got our new outfits and shoes, and it's going to be a fresh new year of learning and meeting the teachers and doing all of the different activities and sports, and maybe your kids are in music or theater or whatever they're up to right now. I wish I would have known this when I was raising my girls. Like I said, my girls are 29 years old and I was 23 when I had them, and then they went into school, and I was literally just trying to survive. So much of my life was living out of the survival part of my brain. And the moments that, like, I look back over the time I spent raising the girls, and I was very blessed to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. But I was doing all of the things that I will talk about today in this podcast, talking about the hustle and bustle and making sure the girls were in the right groups and I had all the right friends and just trying to survive. But my internal dialogue, I hated myself. I could never be enough. I had addictions and frustrations and depression and disconnection, and still trying to be this great mom. And I volunteered at school and I coached volleyball and I started homeschooling in 7th grade and all of these different things that I was trying to do to just really speak health and life into my girls was expressing to them anxiety and frustration and disconnection because of the ways that I was experiencing myself in life. So we will talk all about how we express ourselves in different ways in this podcast today, but I just want to offer everyone hope before we get started and know that you can live from a connected place and be really kind to yourself in this process. So getting back to school has a hurried excitement, expression of life that when we get further into it, it can either be stressful, it can be just something we love to do, or just something to keep us busy, but it also becomes a health distraction. And as that health distraction, we end up focusing so much on our kids, we end up focusing so much on the family and the schooling and making sure everybody's in the right place and everything is going properly and they're doing their homework and their projects and all of those kinds of things that as a parent, and I'm gonna say especially moms. I know there's some dads out there too, but especially moms, we end up putting ourselves to the side. We end up really just focusing on the health, wealth, wellness, care of our families, which is part of being a mom. It's not bad for us to do that. However, we can pendulum swing so far to the other direction that we end up not taking care of ourselves. And I will tell you that when you don't take care of yourselves, you end up communicating to your whole family that it's okay not to take care of yourself. So everything is communication. Our kids watch, see, listen what we're doing and how we do it. And as they're doing that, they are creating a belief system of how they're going to live out their lives. Doesn't matter what you verbally teach them. It doesn't matter the books that you have them read, whatever you are helping them grow in. If you are not different, they are going to emulate you. Again, I grew up in a generation that everybody smoked. You smoked in the doctor's office. You smoked on the airplanes. Everybody smoked in restaurants. It was a different world. And I remember my parents, my grandparents, you shouldn't smoke. Don't smoke. Do as I say, not as I do. And it's this whole messaging. If you're telling your kids, go to bed early, take care of themselves, shower, clean their room, get their homework done, eat a balanced meal, all of those things, and you're not doing it, then it's very difficult for your kids not to follow in your footsteps. Let me say it that way, because they are watching you. It's like, mom doesn't take care of herself. She doesn't eat a balanced meal. She doesn't take care of her. She's not resting. She's always going. And she's not taking care of her body. She's not taking care of her emotional state. She's edgy. She's frustrated, aggravated, shut down, distant, or over compensating by doing all of the things, being the Kool-Aid mom, having all the kids over all the time, and constant by overcompensating to make sure all the kids are okay and never saying no to them, things like that. And so when you're doing that, they're not thinking, oh, mom's overdoing it or underdoing it. They're watching you as an example of how they're supposed to live. This conversation is not about making you feel bad. This is not about shame on you. You shouldn't be doing this. You need to get your act together and all of that. This is about how you can connect to yourself and love yourself in a way that brings health and wholeness, that then in turn communicates to your kids and your family. I'm sure you've heard this, but you can't give what you don't have. Hurt people, healed people, heal people. And our kids are looking to us as an example of how do we live this life? Oh, mom's always stressed. That means we have to be stressed in order to make things okay. Mom doesn't care. Mom just leaves filthy dishes in the sink and we've got bugs and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have to care for anything. And again, it's not about shame and it's not about right and wrong. It's about, are you living fully connected in the healthiest version of who you're created to be? So how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you, in this busy life, you've got the games, you've got all the sporting events, you've got the different activities that the kids are doing, whether it's band or it's speech or it's theater, and you're running kids back and forth to practice and you're running kids back and forth to school and all of these things, and can't wait to have just some time, just a breath to just get away from it all. But when you do that, you're trying to escape instead of connect. So you're going to have a busy life. Maybe. If you choose something different because you realize that the life that you're creating is actually running from your emotional state, and having your kids run from their emotional connection by always staying busy, you might change. You might say and pause and pull back and say, is this worth it? Is this constant, always doing things, always busy, is it worth it? And why are my kids so performance-based? Why are my kids full of anxiety? Why are my kids becoming depressed? Why are my kids shut down or not wanting to talk to me? What is going on? That's all information. And that's usually happening in older kids. But the younger kids will also be very performative and try to make mommy and daddy very happy all the time, or they completely disconnect and resist and push back and quote unquote, as you might say the word, rebel. However, rebellion is actually a very normal process in child development. And they learn that at a very young age, at 3, or 2 or 3, when they start learning the word no, no. You want a cookie? No. I want a cookie. And it's like, so you want a cookie? No. But they're learning no, and they want the no. And so they're working on this beautiful gift of independence. So it's processing with them what independence looks like and helping them age appropriately connect to that in a safe way that helps them understand that, yeah, you can set boundaries and you can say no. And sometimes there's consequences to that. Anyway, I'm going to get back to you taking care of yourself in the busyness of life, whether you've got one child, multiple children, different age groups and in different grades. And you might even be homeschooling and starting up a new homeschool curriculum and doing some co-ops and things like that. It still has this propensity to not take care of yourself in this. And I want to remind you that your kids are watching, not as guilt, not as shame, and not to create anxiety for yourself, but to become an observer, and become an observer of yourself, to create this beautiful balance and this beautiful connection to who you are. So you heal from the inside out, which then has this huge ripple effect to your family, to your kids. But you got to do it for you. This is for you. In a few minutes, I'm going to talk about some steps to take to be able to fully connect to yourself and to really start that journey of wholeness and healing that will then reflect and ripple effect to your kids. So here's the thing. If you are constantly stressed, if you are constantly busy, you are living in a survival part of your brain. I teach this in Tada, the Think Differently About Health. All of the things that I teach in there are about neuroscience and internal dialogues and how do we fuel ourselves? Am I living dependently or in independence, moving from dependence to independence? All of these conversations of what is my family of origin? What is my belief system? How can I redefine discipline and have it be compassionate accountability? All of these conversations we have within Tada, Think Differently About Health. And when you go to the website, there's a free workbook you can get. It's a 7-day free workbook to just start you on the journey and see if it's something that you're interested in doing, but also just giving you some new insight on how to live a fully alive, lovely, connected, fun, passionate, joyful, peaceful life. And when you do that, like your family will notice the difference. But again, it's not about doing this for your family. Do it for you first. And when you do it for you, because you are so worthy to do this, you are worthy of love, you are worthy of acceptance, you are worthy for compassion. And when you start doing this and your nervous system starts regulating in a powerful way that then again has a ripple effect because you have taken care of you, will have a ripple effect on you, your kids, and your family. So if you are living in survival, here are some signs that you are living from survival. You don't sleep well. It's hard to go to sleep. You wake up a few times in the night, just a little bit of a panic, or, oh my gosh, I didn't get this done. Again, you have anxiety, worry. You worry about your kids all the time. You worry about your health all the time. You could also be incredibly disconnected and numb, and you just go through life And if you looked at your days, it's almost like a Groundhog Day, an old movie of this day that repeats itself over and over again. And you could literally lay yesterday onto today, onto tomorrow, and they all look the same. And your emotions, your thoughts, your expressions, your energy, all of that look the same. And so living in survival is fight, flight, freeze, faint, fawn, fix. And when you live from that place, it's designed to keep you not dead. It's designed to release adrenaline and cortisol quickly so you can get away from a saber-toothed tiger, or you can make a quick move in your car when somebody drives through a red light and you're like, oh, and so you have that shot so you can react really quick in that moment. And then what's supposed to happen is after the cortisol and adrenaline release from your body, it usually takes about 30 minutes contingent on the occurrence that happened that caused that reaction, then you go back to being connected and feeling safe. However, so many times there's been trauma, there's been experiences, there's been fights, there's been worry that keeps you stuck in the downstairs part of your brain, in the survival part of your brain that always has you on high alert for what is the next bad thing that's going to happen that I have to be prepared for. Are my kids going to be okay? Always worrying, always afraid, always shut down. The thoughts that track through your head is I'm not enough or I'm too much. And all those other moms and dads have it all together and I can't get it together, or she's so much more beautiful than I am. And I just feel frumpy and old and my body's overweight, it's underweight. I hate myself. There's these signs of this internal dialogue that then triggers the scratch the itch, the dopamine desire to keep getting those dopamine hits and this, okay, so I'm just gonna numb it with food. I'm gonna numb it with busyness. I'm gonna numb it with TV. I'm gonna numb it with podcasts. I'm gonna numb it with volunteering all the time, or I'm gonna numb it by work. I'm going to numb it by all of these different things that you're looking to scratch the itch, which is an illegitimate need. However, you're trying to fill a need that you have with an illegitimate need. You have a need. You have a desire, and that is to live connected in the upstairs part of your brain. And when you start living connected in the upstairs part of your brain, you make different decisions from that place. The life and the busyness is gonna still be there. Maybe, unless you choose to pull things back and say, hold on, why are we living this kind of way? Why are we living this have to perform and do everything and sign up for all the things and do elite sports and do all of this kind of stuff? Is that for me, or is that for my child? And is this the healthiest thing for them in the long run? And in that connected place, you might start questioning those things. You might start going, how do we live from a place of true connection, love, compassion, power, authority, peace, joy, all of that? So living from a connected place is this place of where your thoughts are captured. Your thoughts, if they're toxic and painful, what's wrong with you? You can't get this together. Everybody else seems to have their life together. Blah, all this stuff that just, and they can seem like such normal thoughts until you start recognizing them and go, wait a second, this isn't okay. Why do I think this way? How do I think this way? Where did these thoughts come from? And when you start living in a connected place, the connection and the oxytocin and that chemical that gets released brings peace to your whole body and your nervous system. And that is a ripple effect to healing, to where when those thoughts might pop in, is hold on, that is not true. I am not too much. I am enough. I am worthy to receive love. and to be loved. And I am going to start loving myself first by noticing when anxiety comes in, by noticing when I want to shut down and push away and be distant, by noticing anxiety and toxic thinking and anger and rage and passivity. And there's a difference between being meek and humble to a difference of no longer speaking up. And people can carry the meek and humble badge, but they're dying inside because they feel like their voice has been silenced. And so it's recognizing these patterns that keep you stuck in the downstairs part of your brain. And here's how you change it. It is a very simple maneuver. It's a very simple shift. And if you've listened to any of my other podcasts or listened to any of my teachings, you've heard this before. It is consistent throughout any topic we do when we are talking about moving from the downstairs survival part of our brain to the upstairs part of connection and love and power and strength. And it is what I call POP, power of pause. So when you notice the rush, when you notice the busyness, when you notice the frustration and the annoyance and the anger and the rage or the anxiety or the panic or the disconnect, when you start noticing that because you're becoming consciously aware, you notice, it's like, oh, this is that thing. This is that thing. There's that thought. What is that thought? I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a really deep breath in. And I'm going to slowly breathe it out. And as I do that, I'm going to picture myself moving up into the connected part of my brain. And then out loud, I'm going to say peace. Or I'm going to say compassion. Or I'm going to say strength. Or I'm going to say love. So when you get stuck in the downstairs part of your brain, and now you are going to be consciously aware of it, and in the beginning, it may seem like a lot. It may seem like, oh my gosh, I have all of these thoughts all of the time, and they are so frustrating. And instead of thinking that, go, I am so grateful. I am now recognizing all of these thoughts. Thank goodness I'm actually seeing them now, because they used to just be like this normal tape that played through my head. But I'm not going to allow that to be my normal. Not anymore. I'm so excited I'm recognizing them. And I'm going to change it. And you take a deep breath and you slowly breathe out, and seeing yourself move up into the connected part of your brain that releases oxytocin, love, power, strength, compassion towards self. And it's like, how can I think in a new way? Okay, this morning we're rushed, and I'm going to slow down, and I'm not going to be mad at the kids. I'm not going to be mad at my husband, or I'm not going to be mad at my wife. Guys, my family's not my enemy. I'm not my enemy anymore. And I'm going to take a deep breath and watch what happens. Notice the shift in your emotional state. And when you notice the shift in your emotional state, watch your family shift. You have that much power and authority. Because if you're rushing and anxious and angry and frustrated, and you're like, why are my kids not rushing? And why are they not doing anything? And I'm doing all this work. Watch them change when you become connected to yourself. Because connection feels like safety. And the beginning of that shift, you'll be able to communicate in a new way because you're connected to yourself, and they will feel your energy. They already feel your energy when it's hyped up anxious or toned down and disconnected and sad, they feel that. They already know what that feels like. So when you start practicing connection, they're going to start feeling peace, safety, love, compassion, and they still are going to resist you. They are still going to, I don't want to clean my room. You never let me do anything. You hate me. Like, they're still going to do that. Because remember, moving from dependence to independence is this beautiful transition for our kids. We want them to move into independence. And when they're doing this, they don't always know how to do it well. And so they say mean stuff. They do dumb things. They make not the wisest choices. And yes, there's going to be consequences. But when you create those consequences, when you have that communication, you're going to do it from a connected place in your mind. So it's no longer us against them. It's, I love you so much. I'm going to stay connected to me and to you. And through this, we'll walk it out. So, happy school year. Welcome to the crazy season of life. And this school year, do it different. Be different. If you're just starting out, if this is my kid just went off to kindergarten and you're just starting or first grade or whatever, start now. Because when you live from a connected place, your kids get to experience you different. Your family gets to experience you different. If you have a spouse, they get to experience you different. The teachers experience you different. Everybody that gets to have access to you experiences you in a different way. And the most important part about that is you. You get to experience yourself in a connected, compassionate, powerful way. So have a beautiful school year. I'd love any comments, any thoughts that you have. Please follow me on the socials. And remember to go get your 7-day free workbook to get you started. And if today is something that you seem interested in, you can just jump in and start at any time that you want. I do live coaching every single Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we talk about different topics like setting boundaries, compassionate accountability, and all these different topics. And there's a gigantic library full of videos of different topics that you can go in and watch if you cannot watch live, because they are all recorded. So I hope to see you, whether it's in the socials, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of those, and come and say hi to me. Let me know what you think about your new way of connecting to yourself, and if you have any questions. So have a beautiful, blazy, fiery day, and be sure to tune in next week when we drop another show on Monday morning. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to Be a Blaze podcast. If today's episode sparked something in you, don't keep the fire to yourself. Follow, like, download, and share it with a friend who needs the fire. Let's keep blazing trails together. This is Polly Hamp, and I will see you next time.